Everyone, my name is Ruby Powers, and we're talking about the National Visa Center process for immigrant visas. I'm a board-certified immigration attorney with Powers Law Group, located in Houston with global reach. We are able to help individuals and businesses with their immigration matters all around the world. So what is the National Visa Center and what do they do with immigrant visas? Well, I think the short answer is it's like a clearinghouse. It's like a little way station, a place in the middle between the Department of Homeland Security's USCIS and Department of State. And so the National Visa Center helps collect fees, documents, make sure that everything's good to go, translated, the right documents are needed to minimize the amount of wasted time and delays that would happen at the consulate, which is really in embassies, which is really, really important because people don't want to have any issues. The other thing they do is hold on to visas and hold on to cases while they're waiting for the visa to become current as well. And so they do everything from USCIS decides on the petition after they approve. National Visa Center initiates the pre-processing for applicants, and then depending on the priority date, National Visa Center may start processing or wait until it's current. And the National Visa Center notifies if priority date isn't current, holds petition until it becomes current. And you can look at the Department of State Visa Bulletin to see what's going on with that. So what do? Well, they take over the paperwork processing for the US embassies and ensure the complete applications. And so there's everything from completing the DS-260, DS-261, and confirming the receipt and all the documents that are needed so that everything could be waiting for the embassy consulate to provide an email appointment. So processing times depend on a lot of things because priority dates, delays, errors. Sometimes people, when they do this on their own and they're not really sure how it works, they think they're waiting for something for the NVC, but maybe the NVC is waiting for them. I think things have gotten better with their online systems and the portal, but before that, it was a lot harder. And so that there's waiting times just because there's been a backlog. But at the time of recording, in June 2024, there's a lot of processing that's been sped up, and so it hasn't been taking as long. Now, again, these are around June 2024 National Visa Center fees. These things change, but these are just some things to consider. In general, the fees are less than USCIS for this type of thing in lieu of the I-45, for example, but these are the fees that need to be paid. So, is the NVC process different for US citizens sponsoring family members? Well, it's faster usually for US citizens because they don't have certain US citizens because they don't have the same priority dates they have to follow. So if you're an immediate relative, then that immediate really is talking not about the case being immediately approved or anything, but the visa is immediately available, which means you're not using the Department of State's or USCIS's visa bulletin process. So if you apply for a family-based green card and your sponsor then becomes a citizen, before they can submit proof the citizenship to NVC, so you can update the visa category. And so this does happen where people change their move around in the little visa bulletin categories and preferences as life continues. What people become a citizen, people get married, people get divorced. So things like that happen. So it is important to keep the NVC updated, even though maybe you're like, well, USCIS should know I became a citizen. Well, it doesn't necessarily connect the dots that you're asking to upgrade or change your status on the preferences. So can I use the NVC if I'm already in the US? Well, okay, let me explain this. Generally, you wouldn't use the National Visa Center if in the US because you would prefer to do an adjustment of status. But in some cases, if you're going to be doing like the provisional waiver and you're going to leave the country, then yes, you would. So this is a it depends type of situation. So if you're in the US, you generally would adjust, but there could be reasons why you needed to leave to come back in. But normally, if you enter legally and you have visa available, then this gets a little more complicated. Most people who are in the US would be doing the adjustment of status, but there's some reasons why they wouldn't. It's usually because either not having a legal entry, but that is why you have a consultation to go over these issues. So how do I submit required documentation to the National Visa Center? Well, they have email, you can mail, but really they're trying to be as digital as possible. And so these are some ways to communicate. But normally, once you've paid the fee bills and you have an account, like you're communicating that way. Um, so anyway, the National Visa Center is there to help us to work through that sort of intermediary between USCIS and Department of State. And I mean, I will say, having practiced for 16 years and doing immigration before that, in other capacities, that it has really improved in their systems. And I think the digital aspect has made it so much better. So, anyway, that is just a little overview. It doesn't take the place of immigration and legal advice, but it's more information. Hope you enjoyed that. So, there's lots of ways to stay in touch with us, from TikTok to Instagram to you can join us on our newsletter in English and Spanish every other week, Facebook and X. And so this was the first week of June at the National Visa Center. We are also going to be talking about employment visas versus work permits. What is the difference? Motions to reopen immigration court and marriage-based green cards, things, common questions, timelines, and do's and don'ts. So thanks so much for watching us, and we'll see you next time. Take care.